Welcome back. Really good to see everyone. Hopefully got some rest. As I promised, as we're marching through the week, we spent yesterday talking about how do you attract people to you, because if they don't even know that you exist, you definitely won't sell them. But now we're going to move into, once you've attracted them, how do you wow them? So how do you present to them and make that experience truly engaging? So that's where we're at in our agenda. And first, pretty excited, we're going to have a sponsor presentation from Box Brownie. So Alannah, who also is on our panel, is going to give us an overview of Box Brownie. And again, sponsors are so vital to this conference because none of us could be here if we did not have some amazing sponsors. Okay, this crew, do you need to be separated or, yeah, okay.
Sorry.
Okay, good, all right, good. I knew you would be trouble. Jennifer, we have a lively panel. Did she start it? Okay, good. Okay, great. All right, so I'm gonna turn it over at this point to Alannah, and she's gonna give a presentation.
Yes. Right, okay.
Okay.
Hello everyone, this is our third year doing this conference and I am super excited to be back. I'm always a bit surprised that we do get asked back, but we're glad for it. So, like I said, my name is Alannah Silva and I have the pleasure of working for boxbrownie.com. I don't know how many of you have heard of boxbrownie.com or used us before, but I guess a little bit about us. We are the industry leader in property marketing and we specialise in essentially all the imagery you would need to sell your house or market your homes accordingly. We kind of offer some cutting-edge solutions and our tech-driven approach has been able to basically ensure that we have a really large range of edits, which kind of makes us a bit of a one-stop shop for anything you guys need imagery-wise. So we're an Australian-based company, but we have 200,000 clients in 120 countries, backed by about 2,000 editors. So it is quite a global operation with this one. And the reason really is quite simple. Home buyers want to see stunning imagery. All of our people that come to us really want us to be able to kind of revamp out their images so they can get it to market and really showcase their properties in the best light. There's some really cool statistics on the board there, and I think the ones that really speak to me the most is, I think it says 60%? Yeah, 60% of the time viewing photos with the home buyers, and then 83% of buyers said that photos are the most important part of the process. So we try and keep that near and dear to everything we do here at boxbrownie.com. So a little bit about kind of us as an overview of the company. All of our photo edits, we aim to get completed within 24 hours because we know that time to market and being able to get photos online quickly is super important. Virtual staging, you're looking at 48 hours, and then our renders are 2 to 3 weeks, pending the complexity. Like I said earlier, we are a bit of a one-stop shop. A lot of our clients fall in love with us for one reason, but there is so many different reasons, and we like to think that, you know, if you're ever in a pickle when it comes to imagery, we have an edit for you. Real service. So like I said, it's an Australian-based company. I live in London, and we offer 24/7 customer service. There always has to be someone working, and it's luckily not me. So we offer, we have a team of about 400 that kind of manage our phones, our live chat, our emails, and everything else you might need. And then finally, one that I think really kind of speaks to this industry as well is that it's a pay-as-you-go service. So no subscriptions. We know that some months there'll be more photos you may need, and then other months maybe not as much. So we really truly do hold that pay-as-you-go quite near and dear. You will hear from me a little bit later about photos, so I kind of just really wanted to touch on a few of the things we're not going to cover in the panel today. We're pretty lucky last year that we launched our app called Snap, Snap, Snap. And basically, the whole preface behind the app is we want to be able to give you guys the power of shooting professional quality kind of real estate images by using your phone. Like you said earlier, photos are the best way to connect with buyers, and we truly do think being able to give people the power to do it themselves can actually overcome a lot of the hurdles we see. So our app really is designed to save you money and time by you being able to take photos yourself and then being able to submit from the app for a few of our edits. It's professionally edited photos within 24 hours, like we said earlier. It's designed for property marketing, so the photo editing services will come back tailored to how you edit for for rooms. And it's easy to use. So it's so easy to use that I made my dad download it last night, and this man didn't get a phone until about 3 years ago, and he could use it within 5 minutes. So I think that is such a key way of doing it. If he can do it, kind of anyone can. So it means that if you know potentially you need to get photos from a site and you've got your sales team there or you've got some builders out there, it's a really easy way for you to be able to do that without kind of having to, scramble to find a photographer. We love photographers here. But we just know how kind of hard they are to the good ones are really hard to kind of come by, and also they can be quite costly when you just need 1 or 2 images. So the edits that we offer on the app is our image enhancement service, our data dust service, and our item removal and virtual clean. That's 3 of the 4. So all of these are part of our photo editing suite. They're just solely designed to make the photos look as if when you were there in person. It is kind of quite tricky sometimes when you take a photo and it doesn't look like what you're seeing. Our eyes are such smart and can kind of adjust as they go, whereas cameras, the technology is terrific, but it's just not quite there yet. So being able to use the app takes 8 seconds, but it's going to take about 6 to 8 brackets of the different light exposures, and then from there our editors can blend them together. Data dusk photography is one that I think real estate agents use quite well, but it could probably be used more strategically throughout industries. Data dust photography actually gets 4 times more clicks. People want to fall in love with potentially what they're coming home to every day, and we know that's the power of data dusk. And then the last one we offer on the app is our virtual staging edit. So it's 9 different residential commercial styles for you to pick from. Again, you can take a high quality photo in the app, get it edited, and then get some virtual staging done to it. So $24 for that one in 48 hours. And such a powerful way to kind of showcase what a property that's already built may look like finished. One that I did want to touch on is our floor plan redraws. We love floor plans here, and we do know they're such an incredible way to kind of showcase what people potentially buying. I know in a lot of cases you guys are probably selling pre-sale, so the floor plans are super incredible to be able to use as a resource. And a lot of the times, we understand that before image because we look at it all day, every day, but we can't expect new home buyers or people that haven't had much experience with floor plans before to be able to look at that and naturally not get overwhelmed. I think I still get quite overwhelmed when I look at it. There's a lot of numbers on there. So being able to show something that is really digestible and quite easy to read is really important for us. So our floor plans range from $24 up to $32. The $32 one is basically like a mini model, so it's like a 3D, and that one's $32 per storage. One as well that I'll go into a little bit more detail about later is our virtual renovations edit. Like I said, we offer kind of imagery that can be done at any time through the process. Virtual renovations is a really incredible way if you want to kind of come to market with some photos of maybe like an empty space that maybe you want to try and get it to market a bit quicker, so you want to put it on the market now. Or maybe you're leaving before the landscaping is being finished and you do want a high quality image that you can actually showcase your work, but the obstacle is the landscaping is not done. So virtual renovations can be as cost effective as $16. It can be up to about $170, depending what you want done. It takes about a week to turn around. And then the last one we also offer is static and 360 renders. So our renders are $280 per render. It take about 2 to 3 weeks to turn around, depending on the complexity. And we probably all here are quite familiar with how powerful renders can be during the sales process. Renders used to be kind of really, 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 really expensive to get the good ones, and kind of really only the bigger companies in the world could afford them. Nowadays, there's so many different companies you can work with and so many different ways of working with renders that it is more accessible than ever. So our renders, we aim to be as photorealistic as possible, and we can very much tailor it to your style as well. And then we also offer 360 virtual tours, kind of an extension from our renders, so $400 per hotspot and take. I'd probably say 3 to 4 weeks on this one. We know that quality and being quite specific can in this realm as well, so kind of adjusting to people how particularly want to be as well. So there's some examples up there as well. I didn't work too much in this industry before moving to boxbrownie.com, and 360 renders will always still amaze me about how cool they are and the different ways you can showcase as well. And as someone who didn't have that much experience with houses before this, being able to really understand the flow of a property really, really made a difference. So 360 renders, I think, are still the coolest thing to me, and I always get really excited when I see ones done really well. So that is all for our company presentation. Thank you again so much for coming. Dave and I are going to be at our booth for the next few days, so come and have a chat. He is over there, so if you want to talk to him now, he's not doing much other than eating, so good for him. But yeah, thank you, everyone.
Oh, thank you. You're good. Yeah. Okay, we'll be doing the rest of the presentation with our Australian accent, our really bad Australian accent, so delightful. Oh, thank you, thank you. So anyway, thank you so much for that, and it's a great tee up actually to this session that we're gonna be talking about. So as we mentioned, we're going to be talking about how do you wow once you get their attention and they know who you are, they're actually looking at something. You may not know who they are, but they're looking at something. How do you actually wow? And it is really all about bringing homes to life, right? To Alannah's point, looking at these really intricate floor plans with all this stuff on it doesn't wow me, right? And it can give me a horrible migraine. So it's really about how do we relate to them and connect with them and really wow them with the materials. And there is a whole spectrum of graphics, right? So you can kind of start over on the left with kind of what I call a little bit more simple, a little bit more things that we are accustomed to doing, and very important. And then as you move across the spectrum, you move into kind of interactive assets, right? So they're not static, but I can engage with them as a consumer. And then I'm gonna move into kind of tours, both passive tours, could be videos, kind of those pieces, or controlled tours. So I can actually go through the Matterport tour, for example, and I can stop and I can look. And then you move into kind of on the other end of the spectrum, virtual reality, augmented reality, and you start to get into those kinds of tools. And as you move across the spectrum, the price increases, obviously, but the ability to immerse also increases. So we're not gonna be able to talk about everything today because we would be here for like 6 hours, I think, and still not get through everything. But we're gonna touch upon some of those things. And I think the challenge that we have is this can be really overwhelming, right? And you can catch yourself saying, oh, I need every one of these things. And you're probably not gonna do every one of these things. And it's really, but yet it's kind of overwhelming to understand what do you do when, what are the use cases, and then what is the expense of that and the ROI of that, the return on your investment. And so today we're going to try to kind of tease that apart for you to the best of our ability in a very short period of time. But just a few tips as we dive in. I think as you emerge from this, if you don't already, you kind of want your recipe. So as a builder, what's your recipe for success? And you may have multiple recipes, right? I think Amy yesterday was talking about she's got, very expensive homes and maybe 5 of them to sell, and she may have 800, homes to sell in a different community. So your recipe for that may be different, depending on price point, depending on volume, depending on what you're up against in terms of selling, but you do want a recipe, right? Kind of figure out your way that you're gonna do that. And I would say don't skip over the basics. So as you look at the spectrum, sometimes we have this inclination to go, oh, well, I've got a VR tour or I've got an interactive tool, so I don't need those basic images anymore. Nothing can be further from the truth. This actually builds. You actually still do need images, right? Because there's still gonna be cases where that's what they're gonna see, that's what they're gonna interact with. And I tell you, if you have 25 images, they will look at every one of those 25 images like 25 times. So it's not about moving across the spectrum and dropping different pieces along the way. You actually want to build over time. And a lot of those pieces can be interspersed in your more complex assets as well. And then, last but not least, costs are not necessarily additive, so pieces can be leveraged, right? So some of the pieces that you create, you can use in multiple different scenarios. You can combine assets so that they are even more effective. And then the last thing is, find a good partner. So find a partner. A lot of times I'll see builders that go to this provider for their interactive floor plan and this provider for their virtual tours and this provider for this. And the problem is then you are probably recreating some of the base pieces that you need that you could be leveraging. So if you can find a partner and kind of stick, in that vein, it may serve you really well. So with that, I want to kick off our illustrious but very misbehaving panel today. So you have met Alannah, and she gave a presentation. Very fascinating. She got an accounting degree, which I'm still not quite squaring that away. But
I think I thought it'd pay me really well, but then I realized that you have to stare at Excel all day, every day, and that was never going to be it. So.
Yeah. And she started her career in travel, and then COVID hit. That did not work out so well, and now she just travels a lot. I've presented with her a few times over the years, and pretty impressive. And then my buddy Anya, who loves gummy bears, no stranger to the stage here or anywhere, actually. Very common to see her on stage, and she's a podcaster. And her latest stint, you've been in the industry more than a decade, I would say, but her latest stint the last few years is Chief Communications Officer at Anewgo. So a lot of experience that she brings to bear. And then I have Thomas from French Brothers, which they're like my favorite builder, but the quietest, under the radar in New Mexico, just super powerhouse there. And he would kind of prefer that the nationals not know about New Mexico, so just don't bother. Nothing to see there, but they've done some very innovative things. And he is director of IT, but also has an MBA, so that's a very dangerous combo, but we'll see. And then Jennifer, who's been in the industry over a couple of decades, really uniquely positioned, especially for this panel. She has been the head of marketing for builders, and now she is kind of a fractional CMO. So she works with lots of different builders, and she's worked with them over the years as their CMO, and also advising different companies, startups, and technology. So she's perfect to come in and give kind of a builder view, but from like multiple different builders today. And then Conor, that I will keep tabs on over here, has been in the industry over 20 years, right? Mostly working for builders in the builder industry, and then a few years here at Higharc. So a very well-rounded, seasoned panel. So this is how our agenda is going to go. Super simple. And we're going to pick up the pace because we have a lot of content to go through. But we're going to go back to Alannah, and while they do a lot of different graphical pieces that you just saw, she's going to really do a tutorial for you on imagery and the importance of images, because we can't stress that enough. Then we're going to go to our builder perspective, Jennifer and Thomas, and they're going to kind of give their commentary and insights of what they know as builders. Then we'll switch over to Anewgo, Anya, who's going to talk to us about content and tools, and she's going to talk about where they fit in the customer journey, like the different use cases, which I think is really instructive. And then we'll go back for more builder commentary, and then we'll wrap it up with Higharc and Conor, and they're going to talk about visualization and interactivity, and they have a slightly different approach from a platform, so he's going to talk about that, and then we'll finish up with our builder commentary. If magically there's a few minutes, we'll have some Q&A, but typically we run right to the end. But if you've got some questions, grab us after, obviously we'll be here as we move forward. So with that, I want to turn it back over to Alannah, so we'll pass the clicker down.
Such great teamwork here. Thank you. I'm back, everyone. I promise you after the next 10 minutes, you don't have to hear from me again, unless you have meetings with me, and then I'm back again. So I'm really happy to kind of really unpack static imagery today. And I think before we kind of delve into the different ways you can kind of leverage static imagery and the cost for them, it's really kind of important to really unpack why imagery matters and kind of the importance of imagery. We see millions of images a year, sometimes even a month here at boxbrownie.com. So I honestly also could talk about this for hours, but we're going to cap it to 5 today. Really, the first one I want to unpack is kind of the building trust. So quality imagery, that's crisp and professional, can really leave your potential buyers under the impression that, the confidence in your work and you really are striving for excellence at any point throughout the process. The second one is high quality images drive buyers' emotional investment, and I'm sure everyone on this table can agree that being able to really see and feel something even through a photo can really, really kind of increase that emotional investment. The third point, it also can kind of showcase your craftsmanship. And I've got some images later that I'll show you that I think really kind of speak to that point. But being able to kind of leverage these photos and creatively can really actually speak to your kind of unique flair as a builder, because everyone offers different things and kind of give them that competitive advantage. And that's really what we want to be able to leverage. The third one is it's the simplest way to add value. Images are not going anywhere, and the good news is as time progresses and technology changes, they actually get cheaper, and there's such a cost-effective way for you to be able to kind of show that excellence. Technology is incredible, and we have so many technology advancements, but if at the moment you've kind of got the budget and it is kind of small, look at actually how you can leverage real images and elevates perceived value. So I'm actually going to prove this point just by kind of showing an image here. So I went to Virginia Beach earlier in the year. I love that place, and there is some incredible home builders out there that are really doing some awesome stuff. When I typed in Virginia Beach new construction, this was the very, very first photo that came up. It's the only photo on the Zillow listing right now. It's a 5-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, and it's $710,000. As a potential, new home buyer or someone that's moving into the area, if you're looking at this remotely and that's the only photo available, it's probably not going to fall in love with it. It's not going to speak to your craftsmanship, and it's really potentially going to make people kind of go elsewhere. So I think that's where we kind of bring in image enhancement. Image enhancement can be used in so many different ways. I love this example here because it's a really kind of easy way to kind of finish the property. Obviously, the grass isn't real, so thinking about ways that we can use it, I guess, more on social media. But for $1.60, it's a really, really incredible way.
Did you say $1.60?
Yeah, it's $1.60. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a price. I mean.
Yeah. It's we like to call this the cheap and dirty way, but it's also the simplest and easiest way to kind of get it up there. And look at that photo. You don't have to stake out all day to get the good weather. You can kind of get in, get a photo, and be able to use it to your advantage. This one here I actually think really speaks to that craftsmanship point, because this is a beautiful office. I'd be very, very happy if that was my office or my work from home station. But you can't see out the windows, it's quite dark, and it's made with some incredible wood, and you really can't, I guess, see the value of that room with this photo being taken. So something like this is going to cost you $1.60, but you can really actually kind of fall in love with the view. If you're working out of that window, I'd be pretty happy. So yeah, I think that's just an incredible way of using it. And you can use our app, Snap, to take that high quality photo and then take it to the next step. Or you can take kind of any way and then use it that way. The next one we have is virtual staging. Virtual staging is a very, very popular tool used by real estate agents, really because we want to showcase what a property kind of looks like. About 10 years ago, this is what virtual staging looked like. We're really talking about emotional investment here. It does a job of painting a picture of what you could be doing with that space, but doesn't do it very well.
And hopefully this isn't someone's image.
No, I think if you type in, this is a safe zone. That's why I picked on Virginia Beach earlier, because I actually checked the list and I didn't think anyone from Virginia Beach was there. But I love this, but the thing that stands out to me is not, wow, this is a great space to sit in. It's, wow, this looks like it's been done in word art, which is fine. But the great news is that technology has changed a fair bit as time's gone on, and virtual staging really has really advanced. And even looking at that one on the screen, it's so much better. There's so many reasons why you might virtual stage. I know a lot of you guys probably have design centers, you probably have the model homes as well. But virtual staging can really be utilized, especially if you've got communities that have 1 or 2 properties, they're built, they're empty, and you want to actually showcase that property. It's really convenient. You can get that market-ready, high-quality imagery without having to, run the risk of wear and tear in and out of the property, and it's cost saving. So it's $24 per image to kind of showcase what a space would look like. I also like that it's the easiest way for you to show multi-use spaces. So you can only physically stage one way, but you can utilize virtual staging as well. Only 10% of the population could walk into this room and see it differently. So 90% of people are walking into an empty room and having no idea what it would look like staged. So being able to show virtual staging as something like this is, to me, I'm still not the best at this, but I would not know that that was virtually staged on a quick glance, and it's a really, really cost-effective way to showcase as well. Another little nugget that we've learnt recently from the National Association of Realtors is the two most sought-after spaces when buying a home is the kitchen and the main bedroom. So those are the two spaces that are kind of most sought after. And a lot of the time with our marketing packages, we're focusing on the exteriors and the floor plans. So being able to show even two photos of the interiors is really going to help kind of pitch that lifestyle. And that's an incredible space to hang out. And so, yeah, that's why we like virtual staging. Virtual renovations, I did touch on a little bit earlier, but again, it's a really, really terrific way to actually, we want to be able to sell a house at any time, whether you're aiming for pre-sale or maybe the house is 2 or 3 weeks away from being done and we want to put it on the market then. So little shout out to Lexar Homes, whose photos I have stolen for this, but I met them here last year, and this is a way that they like to use it. So we got this house here, which is a proper construction site, and then we've been able to showcase what it would look like finished. I think they use this one just to actually put on their social media, so just to actually showcase it and hey, this is what it's going to look like. But there's heaps of different ways that you can kind of leverage this one. I really like this one because it also kind of easily paints that lifestyle as well. We've got a beautiful aerial shot, we've then gone and finished it, and it really kind of paints what a quiet life would look like there. So these ones, it is a la carte, so pending how much what you want done to it, I think it kind of determines the price, but we've got one that was 144 and one was 170, and it turned around in about 5 days. So almost like a mini render, which leads me to renders. And again, static renders are still something that we see a lot, and we kind of need to be doing them as well. There's so many different reasons why renders are vital, and it kind of all leads back to what we talked about earlier about those 5 reasons why imagery is important. We want to sell the lifestyle, we want to stand out and attract leads, and we want to make sure that we're not breaking the bank when we do it. So renders can start from $280 for a 3D, but we don't want to be seeing this anymore. As a potential buyer, if you're not familiar with this isn't really going to inspire much of that emotional investment, and potentially just going to be looking at the price tag. And that's, I think, what a lot of people see when they see plans like this. We have the classic 2D render, which I do think is still quite common these days as well. 2D renders are an incredible way if you've got the budget to do a render, but it's not that large. 2D renders are better than nothing. But then a 3D render just really paints that picture as an incredible kind of lifestyle, like we said earlier, but you can really imagine yourself here. And that's what we want to do with imagery. We want to transport people into thinking, hey, that could be my house, that could be my home. So just to wrap up, I've got kind of 3 of our top tips here. We want to start strong. Quality matters, so making sure you have the best quality kind of photo to begin with is going to kind of guarantee that outcome. Stamp, stamp, snap is a great way to do that. Don't forget interiors. We want to make sure that we're showcasing all of the spaces that people want to see. And then finally, capture attention fast. You just have 3 seconds when someone's scrolling and trying to find a home to capture their attention. So we want to make sure that we get creative with our imagery to make sure we can get that lasting impact.
Great, very compelling, very compelling. All right, great. Well, now we're going to turn it over and just hear some commentary from our builder perspective, Thomas and Jennifer. So. Go for it.
Kara goes first.
I don't care. You go.
Well, I'll go. I'll jump in. So it's interesting. Years ago, when I was with Richmond American, I had teams that were very established in Photoshop, and they would be the ones that were making the grass green. So it's amazing to think. Fast forward 15 years, and now we can do it, from an application. So blessed to be evolving in that space in the industry. Another thought is to model merchandise a home, we're spending $28, $30, $32 a square foot. So to actually virtually render an entire home, I know it's based on price per room. Maybe you're spending $200. Why don't we do more of that? So we really have the opportunity to elevate our brand and sell more specs. Everybody has spec inventory right now, but why do we have so many homes? I actually saw one of my builders yesterday called and I said, take down that reel because there's just too much white box, white box, white box. So how are we trying, we want to push our inventory, but we're not differentiating our inventory. And when I see that same great room or that same white kitchen, because we have a lot of white and we still have a lot of gray out there in our finished product, none of it's standing out. And like, what was the address? Was it the Peachtree address? They're not able to differentiate it. So when we're adding in this color and this sets of how we're going to virtual render it, we're going to be able to sell that product better. And we don't have to run out and be trying to model merchandise our specs. I've also had to do that in my career where, okay, we're going to grab a sofa from this house and we're going to just try to stage the dining room and the kitchen real fast. It's a blessing that we don't have to do that anymore. So if we're going to use the tool, we can be much more progressive with our inventory. In terms of the, kind of a best practice, I would also say, when you're model merchandising, and I'm going to talk about this later this week, you want to be thinking about your target buyer. So even when you go through and you just pick on the furniture that's going to go in there, you need to be thinking and still model merchandising it for the buyer. And, the age group and how are they going to want the home. So there's still some strategery to be thought of, how you're going to model merchandise that. And then my last point, I would say, depending on your marketing teams, I really love to empower my marketing coordinators with this tool. One, I always say, make your model your storefront. Make your spec your spec. Go out there and take the photo that you need to know that you're going to be a part of selling that spec. And really, and they love that if they can take something like that and say, I have that ownership to go help be a part of making the specs shine better online than if it was just a white box. So.
Great, love it. All right.
Well, thank you. One of the things that we love Box Brownie at French Brothers, and in using it, it's the time to turn around that product is so quick for us. We have a lot of buyers. We're a production builder. We have a lot of buyers coming from California, Arizona, to the New Mexico market. And when they're from out of market, they can't make that physical visit. They can't see it in-house. So in order to make that initial impact and set yourself apart as a production builder, having those staged homes, being able to put that brand in and work with a partner. We talked about having that partner versus doing a freelance type rendering. It allows you to establish that partnership and really start putting in your branding in those photos. We do things for subliminal messaging, having our brand colors within those renders, being able to kind of set that feeling. We talk about the lifestyle that you're trying to build. Our design team does a great job at building a lifestyle when we're speccing out the homes, and to really enhance that storyline for the buyer. We can stage that home, whether it's modern, minimalistic, or farmhouse, whatever that is, we can enhance that storyline in our virtual stagings. Additionally, in our market, given that we talk about the effectiveness of cost, New Mexico, the average sales price for us is below $500,000, so that customer acquisition cost for us really has to be very low because our budget is quite low compared to some of the other markets. So in order to maximize that budget, doing things when you're able to put up staged homes for under $200 for an entire market, it has such an impact, and we're able to kind of maximize that return on investment and minimize our customer acquisition cost. Relative to our sales price, it keeps that KPI metric just incredibly low for us. So we found that product to be very beneficial. There's also when you look at the time frame, that flash to bang, being able to put pictures in front of customers as soon as we finish framing it, like some of the pictures we saw here. You finish framing, you put it up to Box Brownie or to whoever you're doing your renderings with, and they're able to turn that around that quickly to present a rendered picture and show the customer, here's what it's going to look like and here's the status. It gives them that storyline. So we found that very effective to create that building.
Great. All right, some great insights. So we're going to keep it moving here. And next up, we have Anya with Anewgo.
Right, perfect. So you guys, we know that most buyers start their journey online, but did you know that 73% of all online shopping takes place in the dark hours, meaning after your model homes are closed. That's according to Zillow. So today I want to talk to you about some of the content as well as tools that will help you engage and convert more leads, whether it's after hours or during office hours. So starting with social media. So social media is probably where a lot of your customers are going to be. And if you want to catch somebody's attention, think about the format that you're presenting. So this is an example of a virtual tour that was shot in a vertical video format. So that 70% of all people are on mobile, right? We know that they're on mobile devices, and you want to present to them the format that's going to be the most pleasing. So a lot of our builders are starting to do vertical. Typically what we'll do is we'll do full-on virtual tour, and then we'll cut the vertical version of that specifically for social media. So you can see an example of both Garment Homes doing the entire community video and then doing an interior. So don't neglect your community, right? Because people buy not just for the home itself, but lifestyle, the amenities. So you want to show exactly what that's going to look like once they move into their brand new home. Next is your typical horizontal video. So this is where you want to catch their attention on portals, right? The Zillow and all the other portals out there, and potentially your own website. So you want to show something sexy. So this is an example where not only it's a sexy video created from a virtual tour, but it also shows them what their potential home could look like, so they can fall in love with some of the color schemes, packages, and options. And then once you have them on your website, you want to make that as engaging as possible, because we know that when you have interactive content, buyers engage with that, and you're 2 times more likely to convert a lead into a buyer. So when it comes to virtual tour experience, consider making it interactive, right? Instead of just walking through a standard model home, why not make it so that they can create their version of that model home? Give them options to choose. They can select some of the most popular options. Again, look at the different color packages so they can fall in love with the space. We talked about the importance of furniture, so staging the space, and then walking outside, inside the home so they can really explore the full community. And again, they're not just sitting there passing by, they are actively engaged with that. And so once they explore the potential home and they fall in love with that model, the next step would be to customize it and really personalize it to make it their own. So this is where interactive design tools come in. So this is an example of a Anewgo exterior color tool. This is probably our most popular tool that a lot of builders start with because it's very affordable. So it's photoreal quality. It's at $450. And the best part about it is that you can generate unlimited photoreal renderings from this color tool. Any combination you want, unlimited renderings, $450 for the tool. So designers love this because they can play around with different color options and really see, oh, what should we offer? How can we create that? So a lot of our builders offer this not only in the front end, to show their customers, but also on the back end when they decide how can we, what color packages should we put together in design. Same thing with, Alannah talked about the dusk to day, right? That's an important one, so we can show that combination. And it just really allows your customers to start falling in love with their home. Then from there on, they can move on to the interior, design their interior home. And we know kitchens and baths sell the homes, right? So give them the option to visualize what would my future home's gonna look like with everything from pendant lights to flooring and different color cabinets and countertops. Really engage them in that experience so that they can take ownership of the process, fall in love with their future home, and truly customize it to make it their own. I think biggest thing with this is also it overcomes a lot of objections, right? We know that it's such a risky business to buy new construction. So any tools that you can give your customers that will overcome those objections and allow them to say yes, I want to pay for this upgrade because I can clearly see what that upgrade is going to look like. So it leads to faster contract to sales, right? It shortens your sales process and really allows you to overcome a lot of those common objections that we hear with new construction. Next, they can move on to designing a floor plan. According to Zillow, again, we know that 75% of all buyers say that interactive floor plans are one of the most important features that they want to see because it really allows them to visualize the space, what that's going to look like. We do incorporate pricing into our interactive floor plans so that you can see as you're adding those options what that's going to look like. And then one of the unique things that we do at Anewgo is all of our interactive tools, including floor plans, are AI data tagged. So with the future, as we're going to AI searches more and more, when we're moving away from Google searches, that's going to allow your content to be found online because every single piece of that content is tagged with smart data. And again, as we go down the line, they can visualize what the future home site's going to look like using smart filters. So whether they're going to filter it out by lot premium, lot size, or they want to see when the completion of the construction project is going to be. A lot of our builders are also starting to utilize this to show easements as well as landscaping plan. And again, it goes to show your customer upfront everything that you can show so that it reduces liability for you because they had a chance to see it. If they, at the end of the day, come back and say, oh, I didn't know my backyard's gonna look like this. Well, we showed this up front to you. You've definitely seen this information. So there's a lot of different ways to not only overcome objections, but really educate your buyers on what that final product's gonna look like. And that's the beauty of really interactive tools. One of the best part about interactive tools is that you see what they see. Every single click that they make, every design, every favorite, you can see exactly the home, the colors, the options that they have designed. So whether they just did the standalone tools, so you can use those tools independently, meaning you can just offer the exterior color tool, or you can do the whole process connected where they can take one house and go from the exterior all the way to checkout. It's up to you how you want to piece it together. We give you all the pieces and you can build those pieces in. And then your sales team is able to have much better conversations because they can see what your customers are seeing. And then also in turn allows you to make smarter decisions as a builder because you can aggregate all the data and see trends. For example, you can see what's the most popular model, what's the least popular model, what should we eliminate, which options are trending, what options should we potentially eliminate, add. I know Mel from Lombardo Homes uses this tool to tell her what are the most popular site plans that we have, so home sites before they're released for sale, so that her sales team can price them accordingly instead of just, oh, let's make it this one 15,000, this one 10,000, out of the sky, right? And we know that builders who do use advanced analytic tools are typically much more profitable. You can make smarter decisions with what types of products you offer and when it's time to make a change. So back to the 73% of all shoppers shopping after dark. So Mel, again from Lombardo Homes, I stole this from your analytics. As you can see, and it doesn't matter which builder I pick, it literally all looks the same. This is data for the last year, but it doesn't matter what time period you pick, it doesn't matter what builder and what location, you'll see that the map will look very similar, that the off-peak hours are, 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. basically, right? That's when your model homes are open. Nobody's shopping. And then when your model homes are closed, that's when the traffic happens. So the question to you is, do you have the tools on your website to engage those leads? because they're shopping, but they may not be shopping on your website if you don't have the tools necessary to engage them. So one of the best things about interactive content, specifically with Anewgo, is that we try to make it very easy for you to put the pieces together. It is an ecosystem designed to work together. All of our products talk to each other. So you can add on as a builder. You can start with something simple as the exterior color tool at $450, right? And then build your entire ecosystem, adding those tools together so that they all talk to each other. And it really gives you a great omni-channel view of your customer's journey. You see what your customers are doing online, and you're able to make much better, smarter decisions as a builder.
Great. All right. Well, thank you, Anya. That was a lot to cover in a very short period of time. So I think we're going to do like kind of a minute each of your perspective, kind of your thoughts on that, so we make sure we get to Higharc.
Oh, a minute, and there's like so much to talk about this topic.
Okay, a minute and a half.
Yeah, a minute and a half. Anyways, great for creating that stickiness to have this content, because as marketers, we need to keep our people on our website. We need to keep our prospects, engaging in our content. So to pick something out of the spectrum and say, how are we going to start? I think the biggest challenge when I come in and consult with home builders is they see all these great tools and all these fancy bells and whistles, but they don't know where to start, and they get frozen in their own, way. So the biggest thing I'm just going to give some advice is how do you, she just sold the product, right? We see that there's a ton of everything from data, everything from brand. How do we get started, as I would say, create a roadmap and create a technology committee in your companies. I always champion this. Doing this right now with a builder of 16 years, they know that this is the way of the future. In 5 years, their goal is to be able to fully actually sell a home online. You have to start implementing here. It's nothing we're going to get from A to Z overnight. So we're creating a roadmap. We're creating an in-house team. And we're starting to bite at the elephant one bite at a time, right? You're trying to eat the elephant one bite at a time. Because I think when we come up here and we present this beautiful spectrum, and it's a lot of work. Your purchasing team's going to be involved. Your marketing team's going to be involved. Your sales team's going to be involved. Your CFO and your IT, because they're going to say, how much are you spending, and what other pieces do we have to change within our universe, our ecosystem? It takes a team. And many times the marketing person is championing that because they know they need the tools to be competitive in marketplace, and they know they need their brand to match the quality and to compete with today's consumer. So really my best advice in that minute is create the team, start to create the roadmap. Yesterday we heard about talking about the end, create the end in mind, really look at that, and then start to champion that as a team.
Great, all right.
I'd say, customer engagement and engaging or establishing that feedback loop, to me, are really the two main things you want from your marketing channel. We need to have that customer engagement, and having a platform where you have interactive tools, where you're able to get that customer to show you what their preferences are, is so important. It keeps them on the website or on the mobile platform, but then capturing that on the back end. Being in IT, for me, it's all about the data and capturing that on the back end so that you're able to report and see where your options are, see where you need to make changes within your floor plans, what your offerings are, is so important. It allows you to make those data-driven decisions and drive that business without going off gut feelings like so many builders are currently doing on their offering suite. It allows you to really see what is working within the company, what has the margins, and then for me, really just having that. We talked about kind of the omni-channel, having everything connected together. It allows that data to paint that full picture of the customer. You're not getting piecemeal data that you then have to kind of connect manually to provide that whole customer story together. When you have that unified platform or under one umbrella, you really are able to capture all of the different touch points that the customer would have very effectively. So.
Great, all right, some great tips and advice. Love it. So I'm going to turn it over to Conor from Higharc, and he's going to bring it home for us.
Yeah, thanks. I was just lost in thinking about what you guys were just saying about connectivity, and that's a great lead-in. Higharc's vision of what this ecosystem should be like is taking that idea of connectivity and sending that data all the way through. So connecting the selections that the buyer is making during the sales process to the actual construction document output on the other end of things, and everything in between. So I think this is a good kind of, you kind of already laid this out at the beginning, but steps on how do we get there. We're trying to offer that best 3D in real time. And one of the things we're really focused on is the data that we are presenting on the sales and marketing side is actually coming out of the model itself that is built in the Higharc ecosystem, so that we know the renderings are always 100% accurate and they can be updated. And it is amazing how quickly the speed and the time to get these things has come down. We can actually turn around renderings in a matter of hours now instead of months, which is just amazing to me. When I was trying to get these 10 years ago when I was construction director, it was months, and then it'd be 3 weeks, and then something would be wrong, and then you'd have to send it back because there was one little column trim piece wrong that would take another 2 weeks. Always was super annoying. So yeah, how do we motivate buyers with a vision of their home which is 100% accurate and that we can update, and we don't have to worry about redoing. We don't have to worry about going back and saying, oh, we made this change to our construction drawings, now we got to make this change to all of our renderings. We got to go back and redo all of these things. So bringing those files in, connecting them across the ecosystem without translating them. So at Higharc, what we try to do is kind of incorporate all of that in. There's a little blue save button, which is probably kind of hard to see, but we try to incorporate all the visualization aspects, and we have builders like my buddy Paul back there from Paul, who have this embedded on their website. So you can get pricing, you can get floor plan views, you can get the 3D, obviously, that you can spin around, the dollhouse, and anytime I hit save, I can go and I can download a construction document set that's going to reflect exactly what I have here. And then I can go and say, hey, I need a rendering of this, and be able to get that rendering in a couple days if I want to present that to the buyer. So it opens up a lot of possibilities. And for me, I mean, one of the worst experiences I ever had when I was doing customer service for Pulte was walking into a master bathroom and the client going, that's the wrong countertop color. It happened way more times than it should have, and we know it should never happen. But I always, I didn't know such a thing would exist. But
how did you sell around that?
I just blamed somebody else.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah. Okay, excellent.
But to be able to take that out of the equation and really data fidelity is what we're really talking about with imagery, but also in terms of selections is just so critical. And we try to take that to interior and exterior walkthroughs as well. On the right is actually an Epcon house that, it's funny, I've been in that house, even though that's not a real house, and it's just amazing to me always how high the fidelity is. And it's just great to be able to, if we make a change in Higharc Studio, be able to have that reflected in a short matter of time and keep it all in the same ecosystem, so we don't have to worry about data getting lost along the way. And just another, I think I talked about this yesterday, but one of our customers, great customer, Tim O'Brien Homes, they've seen the results of this and being able to have this connected ecosystem. They do a lot of customization, and I think when we're talking about this kind of thing, what we're really doing is trying to take customization and turn it into personalization. So standardizing options and being able to do things quicker with a higher degree of accuracy, and not having it be such a one-off every time, but still being able to show the builder or show the customer the vision of what we're trying to do. Tim O'Brien Homes specifically, they were having their salespeople use SketchUp to basically redline, hey, we're going to put, your lot has this slope, so we're going to need to do this kind of deck. So to be able to have a tool where you can go in, make those changes to the actual construction drawings, and then have an output like this, like you see a sloped lot here, is pretty powerful. So connecting that, we feel like is the way to really make sure everything is always in sync. whether that is your visualization on the marketing end or the CD sets that come out of it. It's just a great way to develop trust around the customer experience, but also internally in your own teams, knowing they're all working off of the same information at the same time. Hey, look, it's a picture of me.
Always love a picture of you. Yeah. All right, awesome. All right, so turning it back over to our builder perspective.
Sure. Yeah, when I think of a custom experience, that's what that is, right? Not a production experience. And so, again, these tools are giving us the opportunity to figure out how to truly sell online and have that consistency of what you're going to be seeing online in your sales experience with someone on site. So how do we take something and make it really custom and make it feel really, really good as the opportunity as we're looking at these tools to get away from what we've always done. We also have to think about who's the next buyer, right? So I think about my 10-year-old son, and I think about how I can't get him off the iPad. I know there's other parents in here, right? And so he's learning through the iPad, he's expecting through the iPad, he's navigating through the iPad. So his experience for a home is gonna be so much different. And we're in a gamification world right now. So these types of tools are training our buyers today on how to adapt, but our kids, I guarantee, could probably come in and navigate a sales presentation with your tools faster than I will get my most seasoned sales professional. So we need to be considering how are we, again, going back to that roadmap, going back to your journey for the next 10 years for your company is how are you going to add in that gamification? Because really we're building the technology for tomorrow while we're also trying to sell today. So we're in a really weird spot where I think for many, many years why builders have stayed in the way that they sell is because we didn't really have to change. COVID started to push us. So some quick stats that I have is that about 75% of consumers have changed the way that they're buying anything online post-COVID. And now those expectations have changed. Like they had to adapt, and now they're just new expectations, right? And 50% of the general population will buy more if you show me a superior way on how your product works. So again, when we're in the production mindset, if we're gonna make more money off of our upgrades, off of our design options, off of our opportunity to semi-custom or personalize the home, why would we not be exploring that in our roadmap to start to really adapt to where the customer today is changing, the customer of tomorrow will be very, very different. So, when I'm working with builders, I'm really challenging that what, that how, that why, that where, and that when, because we're really, really starting to build things for two different sets of generations, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is a really good point. And while it's not the topic of today, the other thing we have to think about is, Gen Zs are coming in as our employees as well, right? So we have these generations coming in. They're not going to accept the way that we've done business forever and have empathy. And to your point, it's not just our customers are changing, our employees that we need to attract are changing, and they're going to demand that we use more and more progressive, immersive tools. So we could spend a whole hour on that, but really, really good point. So
And even 55 plus is evolving, right? I mean, Snoop Dogg is 55 plus, so it's...
Okay, let's not go there. Okay, yeah. Okay.
They expect the same things too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All right. Okay, opening it up for you.
Yeah, I think the key thing to take away is to keep innovating. In the sales process and in the marketing process, every builder is doing something currently, but what we've seen here is no matter what you're doing, there's always something more advanced than what you're currently doing and where you can move forward from. At French Brothers, we're always looking for, we're looking at Higharc and evaluating all of the cutting edge solutions because that's what you need to be doing. If you're doing interactive floor plans now, you need to be looking at, well, how do we have the options show up immediately? How do we have that immediate connection from when they customize their floor plans or customize their options, those construction plans are live for them. And if you're doing that, well, how do we give them that virtual tour, that 3D walkthrough, VR walkthrough, whatever it is? And how do you keep pushing that envelope? And like Melissa was just talking about, from an employee perspective, that workforce and that skill is changing. Drafting most drafters are not in AutoCAD anymore. So having the ability to hire somebody who doesn't have traditional training in AutoCAD, but can then pick up the Higharc platform or pick up a platform that's very easy to use like that, and it's just, like we saw in the presentation yesterday, hey, draw a box and label it as garage. Well, I mean, that opens up your pool of drafting candidates to significantly more than somebody who has X number of years of experience at AutoCAD or SketchUp or Revit or whatever that platform is. It makes it that much easier to move, a builder into your drafting team, or somebody from sales drafting, or move your workforce around, and allows you to cross-train people that much easier. So it really benefits to use one of those more advanced, more modern platforms, and just to keep advancing your sales marketing, your platform.
Right. I still am stuck in my head, a salesperson using SketchUp. I just think big crayons or something. I don't know. That should be motivating, if you think that that's the way of the world. But it is interesting, we've got a couple of minutes here, is, the one thing I think that we do have to think about is putting all these things online does not cut out our design process, right? So I can't tell you in my former life how many times we'd be doing a VR tour and they would just kind of say, well, just put whatever furniture in there or whatever lighting. Well, you have people in your company who are merchandisers who specialize in that. Don't leave it to like a render guy over here to pick out the lighting and all of that. So I think you have to be mindful that you're not just going to suddenly abdicate that, and nor should you, right? You can make this amazing, but you guys probably aren't going to pick, the perfect furniture or the perfect, lighting or whatever that might be. So you have to kind of think about how you're going to transfer that and make the tool accessible, but those choices are still really important merchandising choices. So we have about a minute. Does anybody have any burning questions, like stump the chump, kind of questions? Yes, Amy. So Amy's bringing up a really valid point that, she's often still building as she's starting to market and sell, and she'll lock in on some of her assets, but then as she moves forward, they're wrong. So it's kind of like, what's that magic point when you should produce them, minimizing change orders and all the chaos? So don't know who has an opinion on that.
I can take that one. So we have a client, Matt Riley from New Home Inc. So he went ahead and for interactive floor plans, he picked every single option that you can possibly do. So when his clients, so it doesn't matter what house he's designing, and it works really well, for example, for spec homes. So when he's using a spec, he can design that spec any way he wants because he has every single potential option built into it already. And he uses it for contract to design exactly what the client ended up with. So I think as long as you show all the options. Exactly. Yeah, you can turn them off, turn it on, and show all the options. Yes, that's not exactly. Yeah, because if it's interactive, it's just everything's in there, and you can turn them on and off.
Right. Conor, from your perspective, kind of what would you say?
Yeah, the way we handle that is, in a similar sense, at the base level is having one plan and actually having a layer that sits above the plan that we call the central data model, where you have all of the options that you want to deploy, and a lot of those are going to be applicable to multiple home plans. And then you can actually go into, Ted's in here, but Ted and Buffington Homes did this 2 years ago, where they were able to take a land opportunity because they were able to quickly reconfigure a product using Higharc, because they could go in and go, okay, well, we need to quickly adapt this from a 50-foot lot to a 40-foot lot, and we know we can't do these 15 options, and we know we want to add these 3 options. And then to be able to immediately put that online before they had anything, and actually using pieces of Higharc as a design decision tool, and then being able to just go and make changes quickly and iterate and not have to go, okay, now we got to get 30 renders. Oh, now we changed something. Now we got to get 30 more renders. Oh, now we changed something. Being able to do that at least
fly.
online, and maybe we don't have the fidelity of that beautiful end rendering, but we have something that we know is accurate, and then if we need to change it, almost immediately we can make that change and have that change reflected on our website and have the new version of that model immediately available.
Great. All right. Awesome. Well, different perspectives, different approaches. Hopefully this has been useful, but I do have to get you to your next session. So hopefully I'll see most of you back here for lunch. Enjoy. Thank you so much.